Today on the channel, we did a little steak experiment. This one's dry brined, this one's not. They're both primed. We'll figure out which one's better. Stay tuned, I'll show you how we cook them. What's up everybody, welcome back to Patio. Today on the channel, we're doing steak, but not just any steak. We're doing a little bit of a dry brining experiment. So for years I've been hearing about people that put salt on their meat, they dry brine it for a day or two, and they rave about how great it is. So I've never actually done it before. I typically buy dry aged beef anyhow. So I'm buying 30-day, 50-day, sometimes 70-day dry aged, and it's already nice and tender. But the principle here is that you put salt on it, the salt gets into the meat, it sucks all the moisture out, same thing as dry aging, and it helps tenderize the meat. So it's supposed to have a big improvement. So what I did here, this is a Costco prime. I bought the whole loin, I cut it up into steaks and froze the rest. Now one thing about Costco meat is that if you read their labels, all their beef is mechanically tenderized. So they're running it through a machine, it's putting metal forks all through the meat, it helps tenderize it. I'm just not a big fan of that, so I rarely buy their pre-cut meat, but I will buy their whole loins, and sometimes I'll dry age it myself, or sometimes I just cut it up and use it for marinades or whatever. In this case, I made a bunch of steaks, and one of them we dry brined. So this guy's been dry brined for 21 hours. So they recommend up to 2 days. I figured a day was a good enough experiment for me. This is not aged at all, right? So this is a little bit bland compared to an aged meat. So this would be a great test to see what the differences are. And to keep it simple, I'm just putting a fresh ground pepper and Pinot Noir salt. I did want to talk to you about this guy. This is a spice grinder. I get this at bbq.com, and the great thing about this is sometimes you get those rubs and seasonings that are a little bit more coarse than you want. So you can put it in here and grind it as fine or as coarse as you want. It does go super coarse if you need it, but it's got a great range. And the thing that I like about it a lot is that it actually grinds really quickly. Like if you ever have a pepper grinder, sometimes you're just grinding forever and it takes forever to get a tablespoon or teaspoon of pepper. This goes through it very quickly. And if you want to make your own rubs and grind it all up together, this is a great tool to have. I think it was, I don't know, 10 or 11 bucks or something. Highly recommend one. I've gone ahead and already grinded up 50-50 blend. So what we'll do is actually let's just do this. Just gonna put a little bit of avocado oil on here just to help the salt and pepper stick. And like texture-wise, you can feel a difference right away. It's kind of interesting. And again, I'm using avocado oil on this. We're gonna do a reverse sear just like we did with the tomahawk last week. But the difference is I'm gonna do this at 250. The tomahawk had a lot of fat in it. It was a really thick cut of meat, and I wanted to be able to render out that fat, so I took it up to 300, 310. This guy doesn't have a ton of fat in it. Actually, when I trimmed a lot of the fat off the outside. So it's all meat. So you can do that 275 if you want. 250 really allows it to get nice and tender. I've got a mixture of cherry and mesquite in there. I like mesquite on my beef. It's not going to be in there long. These aren't super thick, just a little over an inch, I'd say. So they're probably going to cook, I don't know, 45 minutes probably, because we're at 250. Give a good generous coating on the outside, all over. And that's it, steaks are looking good. Now the great thing about reverse searing is we just throw it on the smoker, let it do the work. We go in, we have a rum and coke, and we relax. So I'm gonna put these guys a little closer to the vent just so they can get as much smoke as possible. We're gonna run them parallel so they should cook fairly evenly. Now I do have my grill grates in there. We're gonna cook those up 250 to about 122. Now with the reverse sear, especially when it's that low, it's not gonna carry up that far. But because he's a little bit thinner cut of meat, what I want to do is I'm going to sear it, and I don't want to overshoot my temperature. We'll crank it up to about 500 or 600 degrees when we do that sear, and 2 minutes aside, and it'll be done. I'll bring you back when we're up to temp. All right, so the steaks are up to temperature. Looking really good. We got some good color on them. We're gonna pull them off. We're gonna let them rest for about 10-15 minutes. We're gonna crank up the grill. Now we're gonna let these guys rest for about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. It wasn't too hot, so they're gonna creep up a little bit, but not very much at all. In the meantime, we're gonna remove the panel from the Yoder, crank up the grill temperature to 500, and get ready to sear. It's been 10 minutes. The Yoder's saying 645. It's hot, it's time to sear. Now we're going to do a minute or two aside, maybe give it a little turn, flip it, same routine on the other side, get some good sear on the outside, and then it'll be eating time. 1 minute down, let's see how we look. Oh yeah, we got some great sear. Definitely only going to take a minute aside. It's a great thing about the Yoder. You can pull out that plate over the firebox. Now you're cooking directly over the firebox. You get yourself some grill grates. Now you're getting that flavor of the wood smoke, and you're still able to sear like a traditional barbecue. It's a great thing. Give these guys a rotate. That gives us 1 more minute. Then it's tasting time. Cheers. All right, so it's been a minute. Let's get this guy off. All right, so the moment's here. Let's cut right in the middle of each of them. They got good color. This one's got a little bit more gray on the outside. It's a thinner steak. No big deal there. Dry brined, not dry brined. Let's give them a try. I mean, obviously you can see all the juice. They're both really juicy. Good. Tastes like a steak. Dry brined. Again, tastes like a steak. It's a little bit more tender, but to be honest, it's really salty. Too much salt for me. I don't use a lot of salt when I cook, so to me, not a big fan. I think if I went 2 days on a dry brine, yeah, it would definitely get tender, but I think it'd be way too salty for my personal taste. They both taste mediocre to me. I mean, when I'm a little spoiled when I order a lot of dry aged meat, it's difficult to go back to something that's fresh out of the cryovac that's not aged at all. It just doesn't have that real meaty taste that you're used to when you eat a lot of. I mean, it's a good steak, but quite honestly, this experiment just showed me that buying dry aged is well worth the money, and I'm gonna keep doing that and skip the dry brining. Hope you learned something new today. I certainly did. Thanks as always for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notifications of future videos. We're doing new videos every Saturday, so I'll see you soon.